It's no news that Samsung will embrace a dual-chip plan for its next S26 series. Some versions will employ the company's in-house Exynos 2600, while others will feature Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, depending on the location. A fresh report now suggests that roughly 30% of Galaxy S26 units, expected for next year, would feature the next-gen Exynos mobile chip. Exynos 2600 low yield could hamper Samsung's further dual-chip goals for the S26 series. The Galaxy S26 portfolio will likely contain three versions: the S26, the S26 Plus, and S26 Ultra. Of course, there were rumors regarding a second Edge variant, but the firm has apparently shelved the plan due to weak sales of the existing S25 Edge model. An earlier source suggested that all flagship S26 models will use the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 in key areas such as the United States, Japan, and China, while the Exynos 2600 will power units sold in Europe and other worldwide regions. However, the business appears to have limited the Exynos 2600's deployment mainly to its home nation, South Korea. Samsung has commenced commercial production of the Exynos 2600 utilizing its 2-MEM manufacturing technique. The initial output of the flagship Exynos processor is reportedly around 15,000 wafers. This figure reflects around 30% of the overall S26 production capacity projected for next year. The reason behind this limited output is the low yield, about 30%, on Samsung's sophisticated 2nm technology. Note that the current yield for Exynos 2600 is supposedly around 50%. The yield should improve in the coming months as the firm refines the 2nm technique. Samsung initially planned to power some models of its current S25 series with the Exynos 2500 processor in select areas. However, low yields and other challenges caused the company to forego its idea and instead opt for Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite CPU across all models globally. Hopefully, the same scenario won't repeat with the forthcoming S26 series. Samsung S26 battery. The Samsung S26 Ultra is looking to be a beast in many respects, but when it comes to the battery, enthusiasts may be a bit disappointed. This flagship will continue to employ a 5000 mAh battery, eliminating the chance of a rise in cell capacity in 2026. Since the S20 Ultra was debuted in 2020, the 5000 mAh battery has constantly featured in the Ultra series. It means the S26 Ultra will be the 6th consecutive device to continue with the same capacity. China Quality Certification Center has today published a listing for the EBBS 948 AB Woolly battery rated at 4855 mAh, the same configuration as the S25 Ultra, therefore confirming no increase this year. It is a disappointment to those power-hungry customers who expected greater juice this year. However, not everything is negative. Reports say that Samsung will enhance charging speeds to 65 watt, a major increase compared to the 45 watt fast charging available on the S22 Ultra. Combine that with the fact that Samsung is also due to introduce a 2nm chipset and software optimizations, and the S26 Ultra can still achieve longer endurance despite the same physical storage size. With that stated, the bar is set exceptionally high for battery life in 2026 flagships, as competitors explore the utilization of larger than typical battery cells, as well as higher than usual charging speeds of above 100 watts. A top case manufacturer may have just disclosed the future of Samsung's flagship. The latest is from Thinborne, with a new S26 Ultra case listing suggesting we might expect one that comes with a curved frame and a raised, pill-shaped camera island. The headlining upgrade being offered should deserve many an Android owner's anticipation. Built-in Qi2 magnetic wireless charging. The accessory site, which was spotted by longtime Samsung watchers at SamiGuru, aligns with prior hints of a more ampersand-heavy design language and makes yet more likely the thought that Samsung is going to be using the Qi2 standard and MagSafe style accessories across its top-end phones. Images of the Thinborne casing do reveal a familiar triple lens system in a vertical line, but this time housed within a single pill-shaped module. It's a considerable difference from the current Ultra's floating lens look and possibly suggests there's opportunity for larger sensors, more stabilizing hardware, or simply a new-look periscope module. Dimensions also look altered. Case parameters and earlier engineering samples suggest toward a somewhat bigger footprint with a smaller midframe, but thicker camera plateau. One leak apparently pegs the whole thickness, including the camera bump, at up to 12.4 mm compared to an expected 10 mm on the S25 Ultra, which equals around a 24% jump at its thickest section. Expect that to mean less wobble on a desk as you write and more constant grip across the curved edges. The Qi2 magnets signal a charging and accessory shift. Perhaps the most striking evidence is a magnetically aligned ring around the interior of the case, unmistakably a tribute to Qi2. The Standard and Certification Organization for Wireless Charging, the Wireless Power Consortium, launched Qi2 as an improvement to Qi with a defined magnetic power profile that permits a secure connection, more accurate alignment, and baseline wattage certification up to 15 watt. For people, this is a turning point. Inlaid magnets unlock a universe of magnetic chargers, stands, wallets, and automobile mounts that are developed around the same ring geometry. It also minimizes heat and charging response degradation due to greater alignment. If Samsung plays ball, we might see quicker negotiation speeds on authorized pads and more third-party compatibility without having to delve into the settings. And we've seen traces of a magnetic ring before on S26 Ultra dummies. The fact that a case maker would base a design around that ring is a solid indication that the ecosystem is getting ready for Samsung to embrace the standard throughout the range. Expected specifications and the significance of a camera bump. Outside of chassis and power, the S26 Ultra is rumored to arrive with a brighter and more efficient OLED panel, Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chipset, and a now standard 5000 mAh battery, remaining on trend for Samsung where it seems satisfied to maintain boosting efficiencies rather than raw capacity. Industry analysts have routinely observed power savings gains from succeeding generations of the panel, and this generation should be no different. For cameras, sources claim the S26 Ultra will include a 200 megapixels primary sensor with a 12 megapixels telephoto at 3x, a 50 megapixels telephoto at 5x, and another for ultra-wide use. A monolithic island can boost robustness and thermal management, as well as leave engineers with greater volume for optical stabilization systems. Should Samsung be re-optimizing the periscopic optics, that increased height may be the price of crisper long-range photos and greater night capture capabilities. Case makers generally employ pre-production CAD files so that they'll have accessories on day one, indicating that their leaks are more than educated estimates. Case renderings have properly delivered a preview of everything from button placement to camera island shape for major phones over the previous several cycles. However, tiny tolerances and finishes can vary between now and launch, so treat the facts provided as educated snapshots rather than definite confirmation. If true, the S26 Ultra narrative is beginning to develop. Softer edges to make it easier to hold and handle, a more thought-through camera island as an anchor for its photographic aspirations, finally giving in to Qi2 magnets, which would serve as a needed upgrade kicker for wireless charging and accessories. That's hardly a combo that rewrites the Ultra formula, but it dramatically upgrades day-to-day life, from faster, cleaner drops onto a charger to steadier, better photos. That implies the details are still up in the air until Samsung makes it all official. But now that one important change and the overall design appear all but locked in, owing to a top case maker developing around a new magnetic ring and redesigned camera unit. So that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching.